Yo, what's going on, guys? It is time for me to react to another video, and today I will be reacting to American Stereotypes British People Believe. I think this will be kind of fun, just to see how people from outside of our country view us and see what is accurate and what might not be so accurate. So let's go ahead and get into this video. Actually, before I get into the video, this video is coming from a YouTube channel of Joel and Leah. So they have a lot of great content that I've seen in the last couple of months, last year, I believe. So go check out their channel, subscribe to their channel if you enjoy this video, because I wouldn't be able to do this video if they hadn't put this together. So let's go ahead and get into the video.
Hi, we're Joel and Leah.
And this video is stereotypes that British people have about Americans.
Debunked. So we've taken inspiration from a website called Matador Network, and this is listing some stereotypes that we Brits have about Americans. But based on this article and our own experiences, we know that lots of these stereotypes aren't actually true.
So we're going to
discuss
debunk
it.
them.
We're going to debunk them.
I just love hearing her say debunk. Debunk. I'm not making fun of her accent. I like her accent.
Debunk.
This is pretty funny too. Debunk. The word debunk gets used a lot in the paranormal world. So one of my other YouTube channels is Ghost Texas, and so I consume a lot of paranormal content. So the word debunk gets thrown around all the time, and I don't think I've ever heard it with their accent. So this is kind of fun.
Right, the article calls it like busted, and we were like, what's a more Joel and Leah word for that?
Yeah.
Debunk.
Debunk. So the first stereotype is that all Americans love McDonald's.
Wrong. They love Wendy's, In-N-Out Burger,
Chick-fil-A, Whataburger.
Jack in a Box.
No.
Shout out for saying Whataburger. And I personally am not a fan of In-N-Out at all. I think that food is rubbish. And I don't really eat anything from McDonald's either. I can say that for all of 2020, I didn't eat McDonald's a single day. And for 2019, maybe I would have grabbed a breakfast sandwich once or twice or something through the entire year. Because that's about all I'll really eat from McDonald's. I'll eat their sausage and cheese biscuits and their French fries, and that's it. I don't like anything else from McDonald's at all. I'm not a huge Chick-fil-A person either. I'll eat it if that's what's available, but it's not like I won't go out of my way to go to Chick-fil-A.
Well, that might be true, but that's a stereotype as well. Not just McDonald's, but they love all fast food. And it's probably because it stemmed from America. Loads of these brands that we just mentioned are all American brands.
Yeah, and also, it's not that people love that food, it's that that's what's so readily available,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just like, well, what other choices there, really?
I know,
it's like
it's
fast
true.
food everywhere.
Fast food all over the place. But saying that, there is also a whole wide variety of like
Genres.
types of food, genres of
Yeah.
food. Like you guys have like amazing Mexican food. You have amazing like Lebanese food, Thai food. There's so many different foods in America that I think we Brits just go, fast food is America. But
Yeah.
actually it's a whole...
I live in Houston, Texas, and Houston, Texas is dubbed the fattest city in the country. And it's not because they're going off of people's body weight, but rather the number of restaurants. And I believe they've said is that there's more restaurants per square mile or per square block or whatever than anywhere else in the country. And so Houston is, although we don't get recognized as a food city, we have more food variety here than I believe anywhere else in the country, even over New York and LA. There's more languages spoken here than anywhere else in the entire US as well, so it would make sense. But yeah, you could get just about any kind of food imaginable here without having to go out of your way to do it. I mean, you could either with the food delivery services or just making a 5-minute drive somewhere, you can get just about anything you want to eat. So that's one thing I do love about being here in Houston is the variety and the option of food that we have.
Load of different things.
Yeah, definitely. And like some of the best food might be out of like a van or something.
Yeah, like
a
street
street food.
That's an Austin, Texas thing. Austin, Texas is known for all the street food and food trucks. We have a little bit of it here in Houston, but really, if you want to have a really big food scene of the food trucks, go there. And Torchy's Tacos, which is now about to go nationwide, started off as a taco truck in Austin, Texas. So, yeah, definitely that's another thing here in Texas.
But yeah, certainly all Americans love McDonald's.
Yeah.
Not
true. Brits need to stop saying that. We
Yeah.
love McDonald's.
Yeah, we would probably say before, like, oh, Americans love McDonald's and they love making it bigger, better,
Yeah.
larger. And I know a lot of their portion sizes are bigger.
Yeah.
But
Portion sizes for sure, especially in Texas. I know I keep saying Texas, but it's because I've eaten, I think at this point I've been to 12 or 15 states in the U.S. And it's not that I'm just being partial because Texas is where I'm from, but honestly, the food has been the best here out of all the states I've been to. And our food portions, I mean, you can pretty much take just about any restaurant meal and cut it in half. Fast food, maybe not in half, but it's still more than you need. But the restaurant portions definitely are like double or triple the size you need.
Oh, we're learning more about America.
okay, next stereotype is that Americans are lazy and they drive everywhere.
I guess it is true that Americans do drive everywhere,
Yeah.
and they have huge cars, loads of gas, loads of fumes, loads of pollution,
Yeah.
but they kind of need to. We've
Yeah.
experienced that. Like,
It's
you can't not have a car.
I know. Like we were just like, oh, the supermarket's only it's only a 10-minute walk away. So we walk there from where we're staying in Austin to the supermarket, and we just find ourselves walking along a motorway.
Yeah.
Like we're literally just walking along this massive
Yeah.
main road.
And sometimes a pavement will just, or a sidewalk will just
Just
come to an
stop.
end, and you're like,
The sidewalk's finished.
what am I supposed to do?
It's not. So it's actually not.
Interesting that they're mentioning Austin. Austin's like my second home. But yeah, you kind of have to have a car. I know like in New York and some of the other, Chicago, some of the other northern areas, they have a much better mass transit. But here in Texas and Houston, Austin, Dallas, San Antonio specifically, you pretty much need a car. Like even if you rely on public transportation, then you're gonna have to have some sort of like little cart or something with you to do your grocery shopping, because how are you going to get your things back? I mean, you can't just take loads of groceries with you onto a bus by hand. You have to put them in something. So definitely a car country here overall.
Be an option to
No.
just walk everywhere.
And so, like Leah said, before knowing much about America, we would have just been like, you guys are lazy, you don't walk anywhere. But now we know, actually, that's not the case.
You just can't.
You just can't.
You just can't.
And it's so spread out, like
Yeah.
everywhere. There's so much space in America.
I was listening to a podcast and a girl was saying she's an actress and comedian. She had like a meeting in LA. She had two meetings and they were only 20 minutes walk apart from each other. And she was like, "Oh, just walk." And like the people she was around were like, "That is outrageous." She was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna walk it." Got her maps out on her phone and was walking in the heat, like the hottest day ever, along this basically motorway
Yeah.
on the side of the road. And people were just like, "What is?"
You're mental.
Yeah, you're mental. Just get an Uber.
I mean, we do love walking, but it's because we just assume that it would be like it is in England.
Yeah.
Really pedestrian friendly, nice normal weather, not
Ah.
extremes of weather.
I just love London, like, and that if we, if you are.
You know what, come to think of it, there are some areas here in the Houston area that they're starting to plan a little bit more like that, where they're like a mixed use properties is what they're calling it. So there might be some hotels in there and then residential, and that's all going to be on the upper levels, like maybe at 8, 10, 12 story buildings, but then the lower is going to be more like retail, grocery, restaurants, things like that. So if you live in one of those types of communities, then yeah, you could go downstairs and grab food at hand at full places without having to drive. You might be able to get some groceries, just depending on how close they are. There's one that's in development here right now, right by my house, where the bottom floor is going to be a Whole Foods grocery store, and then right by it is a bunch of restaurants too. So if you were living in the top of that building, excuse me, I'm sipping on a soda here now, it's getting me try not to burp. So but Yeah, so if you were like living in one of those type of buildings, then yeah, you could just go downstairs, get your groceries, go right back. They probably would even deliver it straight to your place you're living, I'm guessing. But let's move on.
While walking from one place to the next, everywhere's just like,
Yeah.
you can.
You just can.
Yeah, like we got an email from someone saying, I've hired a car and I'm going to London. Like,
Yeah.
and we literally, well, it wasn't an email, it was actually on a live stream.
Yeah, on a live stream.
And I think we were like, just take the car back.
Yeah,
and
just return the car.
use
You
public
don't need it.
transport. Yeah.
It's the opposite. When we go to America, everyone's like, you need a car. And we're like, no!
No, we don't!
It's the opposite way. Americans are like, we need a car. And we're like, no, honestly, you don't.
Yeah.
So that's that one. Debunked.
Nibble.
So the other stereotype that all Brits have, we've said it before, is that all Americans are super, super, super patriotic. And they're all like, America first, America first.
I don't really know if I can debunk that because I feel like a lot
Well,
of them
good.
that we've met are.
Yeah, no, it's true.
So I might have to agree. I know, you know, we can't say that everyone is one thing.
I think that one's kind of 50-50, and then I also think the way that people express it is also kind of 50-50. I think overall, most people are pretty patriotic, but whether or not they're wearing it and saying it aloud on a regular basis, not so much, you know. I'm not going around wearing American flags and stuff like that, but I am proud to be here in America and be in this country, so I think it's kind of 50-50 on this one.
There's not one thing that
Yeah.
everyone will agree on ever.
No.
But I would say majority are.
I think that, like, this article explains it as well, and I think loads of Americans are, and they are a lot more patriotic than Brits are.
Yeah.
But there are loads of Americans that are just really interested in other countries, especially because most Americans came from other countries.
Yeah.
But they're all interested in learning about cultures. Like, 86% of people who subscribe to this channel are Americans. So clearly they have an interest in British culture or what British people think about America. Like, it's not just that they're obsessed with America. There are lots of Americans who love other cultures and want to connect with their German roots,
Yeah.
with their Irish roots, with whether they're Dutch or whether they're... you
Yeah,
know,
that's so true.
They are actually, yeah, a bit more diverse than we think.
Yeah, we're not just like America and nowhere else. They're like,
No.
America's great, but also so are
Yeah.
many other places,
Yeah.
and they're willing to like learn about other places like
Yeah.
that. Whereas Brits are maybe a little bit more ignorant to other
Yeah.
places. They're like, oh, we live in an amazing
Yeah.
country. Everywhere else is just a nice holiday.
I know, literally. And because we live so close to Europe, I know lots of Americans that are like, you're so lucky that you can just, like, nip to Europe, like, nip into
yeah.
France or Germany or Spain, and
We
no,
are very
Brits
lucky.
don't really do that ever. Like, I don't remember the last time I went to Europe, really.
Oh, really?
It was Paris, probably.
No way.
Probably.
Wow.
But, like,
yeah.
we definitely don't go as often as, like...
As often as
we
we
should
could. I
or
mean,
could.
the other week I got like a £38 flight return to Mallorca in Spain.
That's
so
amazing.
we took it, and like I always look out for cheap flights to Cyprus
Mm-hmm.
because in like the colder months it's so cheap to go out there
Yeah.
and see family and stuff. So I know we could probably take advantage of it more.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Considering you can get to France from London in, like, an hour and a half.
Yeah.
See, that's crazy to me. Like, if that was a possibility, I would absolutely do it if I was in another country. I mean, but I guess it's similar here. The U.S. is so big that it's almost like our states are the countries of other areas, if that makes sense. If you get what I'm saying, like, hour and a half from Houston. Well, maybe we're like 2.5 hours. You can get to Austin, San Antonio, Dallas in about 4 hours, and they can go to another country in an hour and a half. So I think internally Americans do travel a bit more, maybe, I guess, than other countries might travel to other countries. I don't know, though, because I haven't been to England. It's somewhere I'd love to visit, but it's kind of interesting seeing their take on this.
Like, that's
It's
insane.
pretty good, yeah. So the next stereotype is that Americans are really, really friendly, talkative, and loud. And the article puts loud in capital letters so that you can hear how loud they are. And I don't know. I think we've met a lot of talkative Americans, but they're certainly not all super friendly,
No.
loud, and talkative.
Yeah, that's definitely just,
That
again,
is a
just
stereotype.
Because, yeah, in Texas, there are times that we would sometimes get into an Uber and they would just be like, not up for it at all. But then other times you get in and they would overshare.
Yeah.
You literally just, there was
Oh my
one woman,
gosh.
bless her, that we got in and just like, hey, and she's like, are you going here? And we're like, yeah. And she's like, "How are you?" And we're like, "Yeah, good, thanks. How are you?" And she's like, "Fine." Sorry, I'm joking. It wasn't her crying. Fine. Yeah, she was like, "I'm fine. I just dropped my daughter at the hospital. She's going through a really tough time." But like splurged all of this stuff on us, and we were like, "It's not something you really share with strangers, not in the UK anyway."
Yeah, she was like, "Oh, and my husband works here, and he's going to drive 4 hours to go and pick her up." Like, she was just talking at us, and
I think this is going to vary per regions of the country. I would say in the South, people are definitely very friendly. You may or may not be able to strike up a conversation with random people. It just depends on the setting of where you're at. You know, being in an Uber is different. I actually did Uber Lyft for a while, and I would kind of try to gauge my engagement of conversation with people based on how receptive they were. So generally, if they weren't responding much to me, then I would just kind of, say, hey, pick whatever music you want from that iPad right there, because I had an iPad set up so they could, choose the music and let them do their thing and then just get them to their destination. But if they got in and they were chatty with me, then I would reciprocate and be chatty back with them. So it just depends. But if you see me out and about in public, I'm not just like randomly walking up and talking to people. But if I was like a bar or club or, some sort of more social setting, then I might be more likely to make conversation with people that I don't know, I mean, that's actually how I've met some of my friends that I have to this day, was just randomly striking up a conversation somewhere and then hitting it off and staying in touch and becoming close friends. So I don't know how it is in other countries because I haven't traveled enough outside of the US to experience it. As far as being loud, I do agree with that to an extent. I think it depends again on the setting. If you're just out and about in regular places, maybe not so much. But if you're at like sporting events or concerts and some of these more social type events, then you're probably going to get people who are much louder. And then you get a lot of these people who too are very ridiculous in my opinion, who take their phones and use them like a walkie-talkie, and they have it on speaker and they're in public and you can hear their whole conversation, and it's like they have to talk louder and louder and louder for you to hear their conversation because they think whatever they're talking about is so important that everybody needs to hear it. That drives me insane. Be aware of your surroundings, be respectful of other people. Nobody wants to hear everything that's going on in your personal life or your personal conversations. So I think some parts of this are accurate, but I also think it varies per situation, per location.
as a stranger, I just didn't care.
Yeah, it's
Didn't
bad, isn't
care.
it? Yeah, but I think it's just the same. Stereotypes exist for a reason, yeah, but at the same time, you can't stereotype anything because
Yeah.
Americans are just as different as Brits.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm trying to think of anyone else that we met that's just absolutely not friendly at all.
Not really in Texas. I don't think
No.
there's anyone not friendly in Texas.
Majority of people were super friendly.
Yeah, I think New York obviously was a lot more unfriendly.
That's what I say all the time. And then when I meet New Yorkers, they say like, oh, we're the nicest people, blah, 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 blah. Hey, if you're from New York, don't hate on me. I'm just speaking what my experiences have been. Very judgmental, very concerned with what area you are from, what your background is before actually just understanding you as a person. Very sarcastic, smart aleck. I mean, that's the gist I've gotten when I was in New York, and from people I've met from New York overall. I've gone to Florida a lot throughout my life, and it's like the New York dream is to retire and move to Florida. So a lot of my New York interactions actually took place in Florida as well. And everybody was just very, I don't want to say everybody, but the bulk of the people I met hung up on very specific things. It seemed to be that whatever your racial makeup was of very much importance, and to me that doesn't matter at all. Like I don't care what somebody's racial makeup is. Maybe if it just tells you a little bit about maybe their culture, but like it shouldn't separate them as a person from one thing or another. I don't know if I'm making sense, but I just I don't have a dislike for New Yorkers by any means. I've just not had very many good interactions with them, I guess is what I'm saying. I'll leave it at that.
Oh my gosh, like that guy in the deli shop. He was so brutal. I was like, is that the
Oh
bagel?
yeah,
the
the bagel shop. Yeah.
I just remember being like, you were the rudest person I've ever had to deal with whilst trying to buy a bagel. I was so rude.
So funny.
I was like, which one's this?
The Uber and Lyft drivers, let me tell you that too, man. When I was in New York, and I've got like, I think it was 5 or 7 videos I made on my travel series here on my YouTube channel of my New York. And I was going to do an Uber Lyft count because we were doing so many Ubers and Lyfts to get around everywhere. Rudest drivers ever of anywhere I've traveled to. Scary drivers, weaving in and out of traffic, refusing to pick you up. Like, it was raining and I was like, I guess about half a block from where the driver was. The driver refused to come and pick me up because he would have had to circle the block. Granted, I put the pin exactly where I was. He knew where he was supposed to pick me up and he didn't want to come over there. He wanted to make me walk through the rain to him. So of course I canceled the fare and complained and got my refund. And I gave him a poor score for it, you know, but like, that's ridiculous, you know, like that you choose to be a driver. I've done it. I've done an Uber Lyft. It was a choice I made. You're there to accommodate the person you're picking up. Now I know that there's limitations on that, but trying to get somebody else to walk through the rain because you're too lazy to circle the block, that's just unacceptable to me. Plus it was nighttime. I didn't know the area, so I didn't know if I was in a sketchy part of town or not. Just ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Which one's this? And he's just point. And I was like, and then what's the difference in getting that and that? And he's like, and I was like, okay, did you just like huff and puff? Like, this is your
So
job.
bad.
Like, speak to me.
Literally what I just said. It's your job. That's what you're doing. If you don't like what you're doing, then get out of that profession. I'm a pretty easygoing person, so I'm not trying to be negative in this video. I've just been burned, so I feel them on this right now.
Well, I think those are the only ones that we're going to discuss today.
Yeah, let us know if you want a part 2 of this, and we'll have a think about a few more. If you want to check out the article, we'll make sure we link it below.
Yeah.
And if you like this video, do all the things. Subscribe, like,
comment,
notifications on.
Yeah, click the bell. That means you'll get a notification every time that we post a video, so you're not having to go looking for our videos. It will pop up on your device and be like, John Lee, I've uploaded
Thrice Weekly.
Yeah, and there's lots of exciting things coming soon to this channel. We're really excited this year for it to sort of take off a bit, and we'll go travelling, and we'll keep, like basically the Texas series, we'll want to replicate it.
In lots of other places.
I think that's how I discovered them, was their visits to Texas. I can't remember specifically which ones I watched, but that's how I originally came across them. I'm going to go back and, like I said, I've seen some of y'all's videos, Joel and Leah, and I'm going to go back and watch a lot more of them. If you're seeing this, I hope that you're okay with the fact that I used this video as the reaction. I've already subscribed, and in fact, let me go hit the notifications. And Joel and Leah, you know, I'm going to go a step further. I have another website here called All About the Life, and it's a place that I use to feature videos of content that I actually consume or appreciate. So I'm gonna put you guys on there too. I'll go grab some of y'all's videos, and then if I start watching y'all's videos on a more regular basis, you're gonna start seeing a whole lot of your videos on All About the Life. So thanks for making this video, because it allowed me to be able to react to it. And thank you guys for watching my video. If you're new here, give me a subscribe and hit that little bell notification, just like they said, so that you'll get notified every time I upload a new video. I will see you guys in the next one. Later.